Hello and welcome back to Love is Patient 444. I have had, I've seen other readers in the past complain about uploading to YouTube, and now I get it. I get it. I have been trying to upload like 5 videos and they're not uploading. So right now, you will see me fiddling with my computer throughout this because I'm trying to make sure that this happens. But anyway, we're not here for that. I'm on here because I feel that I'm being led to do a reading for you. I'm just not sure what it is. So we are going to go with the flow. I find sometimes those are the most powerful messages because when I do come on, I have no preconceived notion of what I am going to be talking to you about, right? The cards fall out, the message comes out, and I want you to see how it applies to your life. But don't force your foot into Cinderella's shoe if it's not for you, okay? If it's not for you, what does it say? Let it fly if it doesn't apply. So that's what you need to do. Let it fly if it doesn't apply. And it seems to me that right now, someone is in a energy where they need to make a decision and they're going within. And they're really trying to make this decision without being swayed or moved by their emotions, even though they know that they're there, right? And this is a vast body of water in this Two of Swords card. So there is a decision underway. There's a decision that is coming. And so I know when I see this card, I generally think of there's a disconnect or a conflict between head and heart that they're trying to block out the noise which surrounds them. It's about being peaceful in the midst. I don't think this person is going through a storm, but I do feel that the decision that they're about to make is monumental, whatever that means for you. So sometimes we get jittery when we have to make a decision back and forth. In my personal way of coping with stuff like that is when in doubt, don't. So there is some doubt here. Somebody is unsure about something, a decision that needs to be made. And sometimes we feel rushed to do things. We feel rushed to perform. We feel rushed to show up. We feel rushed to meet somebody else's timeline without necessarily any real consideration for ourselves. And so, this fell down. Hold on. And so normally when we are in the in-between, there is a level of anxiety. There are questions. We're looking for resolution. We're looking for insight. We want some kind of direction. We're a bit frenzied. The word here is to be still. And those energies, those anxious energies come up because we are fighting against what is in the moment. And we're not always going to like everything that's happening. That's part of life. But what you are going to do during this time is develop your ability to go within, your ability to quiet yourself faster. If you've been on this twin flame journey for a while, you will realize that you are so much more equipped to settle yourself, right? You are so much more equipped and comfortable in stepping into the unknown, into not having all the answers, into learning to rely upon yourself as opposed to relying on other people to give you what you need. You are now looking at situations from a different perspective. You have a different mindset, a different energy, a different attitude about you. Whereas before you might have been worried. Before you might have been perplexed. You wouldn't sleep, you wouldn't eat. Everything was about your divine counterpart. That has stopped. And you are so much more equipped to bring yourself back to center, right? You're so much more equipped to calm yourself. And so this here is about you getting back to a feeling of peace while you are betwixt and between a monumental decision that you need to make. Okay? So let's perhaps unpack that a little further before we touch on the other two cards. So what is it that you need to decide about? Oh, that's too many. Too many. One card, please. One card, Heavenly Father. One card. That will provide insight. We'll take this one. When I see this card, it says to me that you're feeling a sense of restriction, right? And your eyes are still closed. Do you understand? So here in the Two of Swords energy, you're sitting freely. You are not bound in a physical sense. But perhaps what this is we are seeing how you look from the outside, sitting there, looking peaceful, going within, knowing that your emotions, your cups, your love are there behind you in the background. You're trying to make a decision from an intellectual place. But if we were to look at the volume of the water versus the amount of swords, in the past, you've been accustomed to having your emotions overtake your intellectual ability, your ability to discern, okay? Your ability to trust your instinct, because everything cannot be simply emotion, right? We need that balance, and that's what you're attempting to do. And this is how you look from the outside. But on the inside, you feel a sense of restriction. You feel tied. You feel bound. You are really doing your best to make this decision from a mental place. You're trying your best to rely on your intellect, sorry, give me 1 second, this is acting up. Your intellect, your reasoning, all of those things that we would normally look to. This is what you're hoping will give you some kind of resolution, some kind of insight, some kind of understanding as to the direction that you need to take in order to bring about what it is that you're seeking. When the truth of the matter is, what you are seeking is most certainly seeking you. And I feel that there's something here that you don't want to see or you don't want to acknowledge. This card is exuding to me that there is some fear which is playing into your indecision because there is something that you don't know. Over here, we have the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is known for keeping secrets, for keeping things undercover, under wraps. Sometimes she'll let you see what is behind the veil. And similar to this Two of Swords card, what is behind the veil for the High Priestess is her emotions, but she does not show them. And I think you are working very hard to restrict yourself by pulling on to your High Priestess energy, by trying to make a decision that's predominantly mental in nature, by sitting still and going within and trying to unpack whatever this fear or this discomfort. This card, I don't know. You're either procrastinating or you're feeling paralyzed. You feel paralyzed, although you're not paralyzed, right? You feel bound and strapped and trapped, even though you're not. You have worked so hard to remove any emotion, but I would say to you, there's nothing wrong with emotion imbalance, right? there's an anxiety that's present in this card, be it that you're worried about the past or you're worried about the future. Nonetheless, you're worried. You're worried. You're worried about something that I don't want to say not real. I don't want to say not imminent, but it is something that you can actually have effect over. And so there is a truth here that needs to be spoken that's not being spoken. Clearly there's a decision that needs to be made because we also have the Two of Swords here. It's in a downward position. And then over here you've got 5 more swords, which are about change and conflict. And the conflict is not external. It is internal for you. So let's unpack this a bit more. Move on to the High Priestess. And see why the High Priestess energy is here. What is it that is hidden? Okay. So we have the Ten of Wands. There is a burden that is ending. You know what I'm noticing in the first 2 cards? They don't want to see something. There's something they don't want to see. In the next card, there is something that they don't want to come to the surface. And in this card again, the face is hidden. The face is hidden. What is so, I don't know, traumatic that you're afraid to see it? Because we do oftentimes need to face our fears, right? Because you're moving towards something. There's been a responsibility here that you've been carrying. Maybe you're wondering why you've been doing this. Are you contemplating your relationship with your twin flame? A lot of it's been emotional. You've been out of balance. You're trying to tighten that up by using your intellect, and you're moving into your masculine energy in order to do that. Over here, you're doing your best to be balanced. There are things that are hidden that you're not showing. And here, I think you feel like you've been carrying the burden for this relationship, right? Now, if you're watching this, you are the awakened one. You are the conscious energy. You are the divine feminine. And yes, oftentimes it seems that it's unfair because we feel like we're doing the majority of the work, right? We are searching at tarot. We are taking our time to listen to this person and that person. We are, we feel like we're going through angst and whatnot. And it might look like they are living their best life, right? But that is not necessarily the case. And don't forget, what they are doing at times is because they are not aware. Or, my personal opinion is I think they kind of are aware. They just do things to help them check out, help them not to be present, help them not to connect and feel. Because on one hand, it's as if the divine feminine has too much emotion, and her counterpart, the masculine, doesn't have enough, doesn't show enough, right? You feel like you've been working hard. And carrying a large burden because you feel there's a lot riding on this, because you have a vision in mind, right? There's a house here. You're working towards something. You're pressing towards the mark. You have a goal and a vision. And perhaps you feel like you're the only one who sees that vision, who is carrying that vision. Because when I look at this card, I see that this wand over here is a little bit skewed from the other 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, right? It's skewed from the other one. And I feel like you started your journey with a passion. You started your journey with divine inspiration and creativity and a goal in mind, and you were taking action steps because you wanted to be successful, which is what these 6 wands represent. And so you've taken on the burden and the responsibility because you have a vision in mind over here. And these 3 of wands over here, are you doing your part and you're actively waiting for the outcome that you're desiring? Part of the problem is that you've been living not in the present moment. This Ace of Wands has been for the future. This 6 of Wands, you're doing all this work hoping for success. And this 3 of Wands is you waiting for the future now to come. Perhaps you're also feeling, because the High Priestess also represents cycles and time, if you will. I know everyone wants to say there's no such thing as time. Like, oh, okay, but we do use time, right? We are physical here in the 3D. We are mental and we are spiritual. There are 3 components to who we are. And the point is for them to all work together. We're not supposed to cancel out one over the other. They're supposed to be harmonized, working in unison. And you can have your body doing the work now with your mind based on tomorrow. Or you can be, your mind can be based on yesterday. Your body is doing the now work. You know what I mean? Like, it's important to be unified in your efforts. And I can see that you've been trying to pull all of this together. There is here, though, a sense of determination. And in your mind, you're idealizing and seeing that there will be a reason for celebration because you would have met your goal. Are you realizing that I'm not talking a lot about the divine masculine? Have you picked up on that? Because I want people to understand and realize that it's not about getting your counterpart. You're not doing all this work to get them. You're not going through all of this so that you can have your person on your arm. That's not the purpose, right? That's not the purpose. You are learning to balance. You are learning to take what you're responsible for. You are also learning about leadership, encouragement, changing your mindset, moving forward. And I said to you, we are triunion, right? Because at the end of doing all this, at the end of all this work, at the end of all these thoughts and balancing your emotions and being divinely inspired to move forward, you celebrate you. This is supposed to be the 3 stages of life, right? When we're in our youth, we don't know ourselves. When we're middle age, we learn more about who we are and what it is that we want, and we are learning from the mistakes that we've made. When we become, they call it the crone, right? Which is the older lady. And actually, let me go back. And in your middle life, you are giving birth to things. You are in your Empress energy, right? You have to amalgamate all 3 things. So for me, one lady is representing when we are in our page status. We're new on the path. We are in the fool's journey. The other one represents an energy where we've accomplished and experienced some life. We are looking back at what we've done, what we've accomplished. Our mindset is changing. We have been in our Queen, moving in towards our Empress energy, because we've experienced all the different stages. We've experienced relationships and love and emotion and partnership and connection. We've experienced Swords, which is thought, intellect, swift thinking, strategic planning. We've experienced passion and creativity and taking the action steps to create what it is that we want in our lives. And I'm missing one. Cups, Swords. Why can't I think? Cups, Swords, Wands, Pentacles. And I'm sure at some point in your life you've been, there's a song, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. Right? Like you've seen it all. You've been through that stage where money and looks and all that stuff was really important. And now you are into your High Priestess energy, where you're now putting it all together. That's cause to celebrate, honey. That is reason to celebrate. Don't dismiss this, right? Don't dismiss this. And so I said earlier in the reading that I feel that you are contemplating what you should do about this journey, because you feel that you've been burdened with leading, burdened with finding out, burdened with taking on some of the, the responsibility, the challenge, some of the disappointments. But I just want you to understand, beloved, that all of this is for your own good. All of this is helping you grow into who you're supposed to be. And like it or not, your divine counterpart has helped you take you in that direction. They've helped you. They've helped to awaken you. Isn't it amazing? We call them the unawakened one. And they're doing all the things that they need to do in order to cause us to step up and do what we honestly, genuinely, truly need to do for ourselves. Because if it wasn't for them, chances are we wouldn't do it, right? We wouldn't do it. Sometimes we need the motivation of helping and being and doing for others, because there's some things that we're just not going to do for ourselves. There are things that we would do for our children that we wouldn't bother doing for ourselves if it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for their existence. And so you're on this journey, not that you would necessarily pick up this burden willingly, but you do have a vision in mind and you are seeking abundance. But I want you to get that it's about you first and them after. Okay? Has this uploaded yet? Let me see. Okay, not yet. That's all right. So let me close out this reading for you. With an Angels and Ancestors Oracle to encourage you. Okay. This is, can you see it? It is the High Priestess. The High Priestess. And it says to harness your mystic power. Harness your mystic power. And so this is about you focusing on things that are positive in your life, okay? This is about you embodying who you are. If you didn't know, you are the High Priestess. And we talked about the High Priestess in relation to the 3 cycles that we go through in our development stages, whether you're masculine or feminine. And the High Priestess is the partner to, in this deck, would be the High Priest, right? Or the High Priestess is the partner to the Hierophant. They work in tandem. They complement one another. They are of similar energies. She is a leader. She's glorious, strong, wise, experienced, insightful. She is mystic. Your intuition and your abilities of discernment continue to grow, continue to strengthen, continue to expand. Because it will guide you through this journey. It will guide you. This is wonderful. What a wonderful compliment. I'm going to pull one more. Let me put this back. And we're going to use this one. One card to just wrap. You're kidding me. Positivity. Come on. If you can find even one thing to be grateful for, it will restore you to the light. Please, dear God, let me always feel gratitude for something, even a tiny thing, in even the hardest of situations. Even the hardest of situations. And even the hardest of situations. So what it's saying here is that find one thing to be grateful for, and it will restore you to your high priestess energy. To be grateful. Gratitude and positivity for the journey that you're on. And where you're going. You're getting there, girl. You're getting there, guy. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to be encouraged on this journey. You are on the right path. I want to affirm that for you. Okay? You're on the right path. See you later.